Good morning and welcome to You Be the Judge. Thank you for joining us on Super Bowl Sunday. And my guests today are going to present a super program. Sarah Wolff, happy birthday first.
Thank you.
And fresh from the State of the Union address in Washington, D.C. And Don Broderick with the Arc of Northeastern Pennsylvania. And Mark Preisman of the National Down Syndrome Society. And we're going to talk today about a program that is going to change the lives of millions of people across America, and talk about the efforts that our own Sarah Wolff from Northeastern Pennsylvania put into the passage of that program. She'll be the first to say that it was a team effort.
Team effort.
But she was really glad to be on the team. Sarah, tell us a little bit about what the ableact is.
ABLE is short for Achieving a Better Life Experience Act. It started in 2006, but I got started with it in 2009. And it's a 529 bipartisan bill. And I've been advocating for this for a long time.
I remember being down, and I think, Don, you were with me.
Yes.
We were down at Senator Casey's office back in about 2009.
Right.
And your first question to him was, when are we going to get the ableact passed, Senator?
Yeah.
He pointed out that they were pretty busy with the Affordable Care Act, but you didn't take no for an answer.
Well, we had to keep going. No matter what bill or whatever they're working on, we have to keep it going.
And Sarah, you made an awful lot of friends in Washington during this journey. You were probably very much surprised to learn how many members of Congress and the Senate have family members that are touched with developmental disabilities. Yeah. And you made a good friend in the Speaker of the House, John Boehner.
I only said hi to him, but it was cool to meet him, though.
And there were a number of other House members.
Yeah.
Any of them that stand out?
Senator Casey and I are from the same Lackawanna County, but also Kathy Morris Rogers, a congresswoman, and Senator Richard Burr, and Congressman Ender Crenshaw, and many others that started this bill in 2014 and 2013. So.
Sarah, you're quite the lobbyist.
Thanks.
And Don, you've seen Sarah in action both in Washington and Harrisburg.
Right.
Talk a little bit about how well she connects with members of the legislature.
You just can't say no to this young lady. You're right, Todd. She's been involved with the Arc of the United States at many meetings in Washington. She's an expert. You know, when you go into a meeting, and a lot of times people are chit-chatting on the side, when she talks, you could hear a pin drop, and she really commands the attention of everybody in the room. She's an expert.
Well, Don, and I think Mark, you'll agree with me. Sarah, as a public speaker, you are as good as anyone I have ever heard, particularly at your timing and how you deliver a speech. And you love it, don't you?
I do.
And she will be speaking at the gala tomorrow night in Washington, D.C., or this week in Washington, D.C., honoring Senator Casey. Am I right, Mark?
Yeah, Sarah's public speaking skills are incredible. And this comes from someone who spent 10 years behind a microphone working in radio. So, she's going to be honoring her close friend and Senator Casey this week here at the National Down Syndrome Society Gala. So she will be one of our three honorees, as well as the TV show Sesame Street and Glee. But obviously, Senator Casey had a big part of he was a big part of the reason that the ABLE Act was passed. His longtime advocacy efforts and his close friendship with Sarah have really helped out millions of people in this country.
When we come back, I want to talk a little bit more about Senator Casey and the effort he put forth, because he is, in my eye, a real superstar for everyone who believes that the government is there to help them because they can't completely help themselves. So please stay tuned to You Be the Judge. Pat O'Malley here from O'Malley & Langen. If you're used to wearing these, and now you're stuck home wearing these, you may have a disability that prevents you from working. Call us at O'Malley & Langen. We can help you get the Social Security benefits that you've earned.
Are you a veteran who is looking to improve your math and writing skills? Enroll in RVATS at Marywood University.
It's been about 7 years since I was in school, and upon completing the RVATS program, I feel that it really helped me with my confidence in taking courses here at Marywood University.
These are free, non-credit classes for veterans and their spouses. Use your new skills to get a job or go back to school.
So it is such a great opportunity, and I'm thankful for it.
Contact us to enroll in RVATS at Marywood University today.
Welcome back to You Be the Judge. Mark, before the break we were talking about Senator Casey and Sarah's friendship with him, but he has really been a star on the movement to get this bill passed. And you couldn't have a better member of the legislature in the lead, I don't think, than Senator Casey, because he has the ability to bring people together. Go ahead.
One of the things that we saw with the ABLE Act that was pretty unheard of lately in Washington was the fact that, people on both sides of the aisle were together. I know that Sarah mentioned some of the main players from this in the last segment. You had Senator Casey, who's a Democrat, and Senator Burr, who's a Republican. And then you have, over in the House, you had Kathy McMorris Rodgers, Pete Sessions, and Andrew Crenshaw, who are all Republicans, and you had Chris Van Hollen, who's a Democrat. So you had two sides of the aisle which were working together for a cause, which honestly doesn't happen a whole lot. I mean, at this point, where we are in partisan politics, you do not see what happened with the ABLE Act. And it was people like Sarah who, through her countless trips down to Washington, advocating for it and telling her story and giving all these speeches across the country, that were really one of the reasons that Senator Casey, Senator Burr, and the 404 people who voted in the House for the ABLE Act, that was the reason that they did it, because of Sarah and people just like her.
Sarah, I truly believe that sometimes it takes one event to start to change the course of history. And it may very well be that act and the fact that so many members of the House and the Senate had a common interest in it, and you've done such a good job of educating them, that maybe we'll see future acts pass through bipartisan efforts, something that's been lacking for the last 5 or 6 years. Mark, you've been down in Washington for a long time. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, and I think it's one of those things where once kind of a little bit of water breaks through the dam, you may see the floodgates kind of open. This was something where it was an easy cause for people to rally around, whether despite which side of the aisle they may sit on. And I think a lot of people in Washington are kind of hopeful that this becomes a trend. I mean, it hasn't. There's always been partisan politics, but stuff has always gotten done. And lately, there have been plenty of things that have needed to get done, which haven't. And we're hoping that after the ABLE Act, a few more things will happen in Washington, regardless of which party people stand on.
Now, Mark, I'm here with Don Broderick, who I'm sure will be instrumental in seeing that Pennsylvania passes the legislation necessary to open ABLE accounts in Pennsylvania. But explain to our audience what those ABLE accounts are.
So the ABLE account itself is a 529 savings fund, much like you have 529 savings account for higher education. So a family can put, or family or whoever wants to donate to the fund, can put a maximum of $14,000 per year in that fund. At $100,000 in the 529A, it's 529A for ABLE. At $100,000, the SSI will then be cut off. Now, that's a change from the $2,000 in assets that it used to be cut off at. And $2,000 now is pretty much a cell phone and a laptop. So, it's a big change. Now, each state will have different regulations on the ABLE account. Some states may have a $400,000 cap. Some states may have a $150,000 cap. Regardless of how much the cap is for that individual state, the SSI would cut off at $100,000.
Don, you're into Harrisburg a lot, and what do you think we're going to see out of the new Wolff administration as far as implementing these guidelines?
I certainly hope that we do, as was just discussed, the right thing, and we really make this easy for people to be able to save in. The TAP 529 accounts, I had 2 of them for my kids, and it was a wonderful way for us to be able to save for their educational experiences. And I think the same thing will happen here. We certainly will be very involved with the goings-on in Harrisburg and try to get this thing up and operational. I was glad to hear that Minnesota, who oftentimes leads the charge on a lot of these issues, already has an act in place. And we'll take a look at these as they come along, and hopefully we'll be able to do this. I know in Harrisburg right now, obviously facing a $2.3 billion deficit going into next year. This is probably not going to be hot on the agenda, so we're going to have to force the issue to get this thing done. But certainly the NDSS group in Pennsylvania and also the ARC will be really trying to forward this. I have a question for Mark, if you don't mind me asking. Mark, I had a family member call me and talk to me about this particular program, and she had saved money in a TAP 529 for her grandchild, who had later been diagnosed with some type of disability. And her question was, can they move the TAP money in the 529 over to the ABLE Act?
To my knowledge, yes. That's obviously something that we haven't had to deal with, because the first accounts are going to be starting to be set up. So yeah, that shouldn't be a problem. The money that goes into the ABLE accounts can be pulled from anywhere. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to be the parent to put money in. You don't have to be the grandparent. If there's an aunt and uncle, a cousin, they can all put money into that account. The one thing that there is a limitation on is the money that can go in per year, and that's $14,000.
Right. Okay.
Don, here in northeastern Pennsylvania, I had someone come in and see me several years ago that his brother, who had a developmental disability and worked down at College Misericordia in the kitchen, worked with a young lady that he felt very fondly towards, who was also developmentally disabled. They got married, which is a wonderful thing.
Right.
But as soon as they got married, they found out their SSI was lost because their combined income took them off the ability to have the money that they needed.
Right.
And Mark, before the show, we were talking about a couple that you're familiar with from Oklahoma and Louisiana. Maybe you could share that with our audience.
Yeah, we have a couple who are in their late 20s, early 30s, named Craig and Heather. And Craig is from Louisiana and Heather's from Oklahoma. And they weren't able to get married because their combined assets would push them over the limit to get SSI, and they couldn't move to be with each other because once you're taken off in the state, you have to reapply in the other state, and you go to the bottom of the list. So, and I don't know how many years they've been together, but I know it's been a long time. And when the ABLE Act passed the House on December 3rd, we got a message from Craig at the National Down Syndrome Society saying, "Thank you. Now we can finally start to plan our wedding." And it's things like that a lot of people just take for granted. I mean, yes, there are a lot of things that are hard about planning weddings and things like that, but you never really realize that there are people out there who want to be married who can't because of financial reasons like this. So we're very happy to have had it passed and be a part of their celebration.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break now, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more with Sarah Wolff about her adventures in Washington, D.C., so please stay tuned to You Be the Judge. Hi, I'm Todd O'Malley with the law offices of O'Malley & Langen. If I say the phrase life-changing experience, what do you think? Getting married, having a baby, buying a home, all good things. I'll bet you didn't think work injury, and that's a problem with our society. People don't realize a work injury can change everything. Destroy your earning power, hurt your family, and damage your health. If you're hurt on the job, call O'Malley & Langen, 1-800-817-COMP.
Are you a veteran who is looking to improve your math and writing skills? Enroll in our vets at Marywood University.
It's been about 7 years since I was in school, and upon completing the RVETS program, I feel that it really helped me with my confidence in taking courses here at Marywood University.
These are free, non-credit classes for veterans and their spouses. Use your new skills to get a job or go back to school.
So it is such a great opportunity, and I'm thankful for it.
Contact us to enroll in our vets at Marywood University today.